Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our little podcast or
Adventure.
yeah, whatever we're doing here. I was going to say S show, but
And what's it called?
Well, I think we finally landed on a name now that we're filming episode 4, right? This is episode 4 that we're filming tonight. In 2 weeks, this is our 4th episode. And I think I finally landed on Shop Talk After Dark. I think that's what we're going with, so we'll see by the time the first one gets released in the next week or so.
Or is it After Dark Shop Talk?
Well, see, now we have a conundrum. I've gone back and forth with that, honestly. After Dark Shop Talk. I think that was the one I landed on and texted you and said, this is what we're doing.
It's right.
And I've also come up with what I think is, if I can execute it properly, a great little intro, quick. I think it'll be fun. Very looking forward to that. I think it'll kind of have that indie film feel to it, something a little different. So we'll see where we land on all that. So here we are. June is kicking off. Today is June 4th as we are filming, and wow, we came out of the gate running. We ended May real strong. May ended up down a little bit from last year. That's kind of been our trend all year this year. Nothing to where, we're crying in our beers or anything like that, but
not catastrophic.
No, but enough to notice. And also we've made adjustments. We've talked about all that. We're not going to keep beating dead horses, but so we have come out really strong this month. It's been crazy.
This week has been very busy.
Yeah.
And that's not a complaint.
No. So
thrilled to death, in fact.
And with that, I think I'm going to address something I addressed on a video on social media about the hat and the hair. I'm pretty sure with all of these, everybody's going to start asking me, I didn't know you wore glasses. So I'm going to tell you, I'm a very vain person. I am using these glasses to hopefully shield the bags under my eyes a little bit and hide that. So, deal with it. Here I am. So yeah, June's starting out really good. The numbers are fantastic. Things are going out the door. We've been really pumping some stuff out. Real toy heavy so far this week. And part of that is, we made recently over the last month, 6 weeks, we've kind of rearranged some stuff again. We switched where our, 2 for $1 comics were and brought them out where our dollar comics were because we had lightened that load a lot and, offloaded a bunch of those that we do occasionally from time to time. And it opened up a bunch of space that we could bring out the 50 centers from this tiny little room that would get really crowded, at the right times when people would come, especially like Saturday mornings. 6 people were in that little U shape trying to shop those books, and it would get crazy.
Well, we witnessed at least once, if not more than once, a couple come in that wanted to shop 50-cent comics. They took one look in the room and said,
too busy.
Nope, and left.
Yeah, and I mean, part of that was you came in on a Saturday morning. Yeah, I mean, it's our busiest time of the week for sure.
Nature of the beast. And right. we have, just like we have quite a few dollar book shoppers, we have probably now more than ever, just because of the sheer amount of 50-cent comics, we have a lot of people showing up to shop those 50-cent comics.
And then, like what you just said, that's where I was going with that. We have more 50 centers out in this store than we've ever had. So yeah. There's a lot of them, unbagged, onboarded, many of them fresh looking appearance, condition wise, off the shelf, like nothing wrong with these books. It goes back to what we talked about last week, that they just ain't selling for $1. So they're not worth putting the effort into bag and board and the labor and the material cost and all that stuff for it to sit here. Mm-hmm. So that's where they ended up. So with us moving that out, we've been kind of, juggling what we're doing in that room, in that old space where they were. And lately we've just been filling it with toys. We put out like a graveyard table where we have discount toys that, a lot of shells, vehicles, things that are maybe, incomplete, cheap, go-getter, good grabs for cheap. And I think that's most popular usually with our guys that do customs,
Yeah.
and they like, good cheap fodder to do something with.
Well, and especially when it's vintage Motu or G.I. Joe,
Star
some
Wars.
Star Wars stuff, it's pretty much all been 80s
Yep.
toys that we can only hold so much in our boneyard in the back in order to put together more complete pieces.
Right.
And as they get picked apart, they got to go somewhere.
Yeah, well, and I mean, real estate costs money.
Mm-hmm.
So to have more space to store more of a boneyard, at certain points, it just doesn't make sense. We have to start letting go of things and let people get what they can, and get it out of our way for cheap. On top of that, buying has been crazy.
It's been a bonanza.
Nonstop. I've been leaving the shop to go look at more collections lately. I traveled back down to Columbia. We're going to talk about some stuff that we, that came in that we're excited about or interesting, whatever. One of those items came from that Columbia collection. I went down, wasn't expecting it. I went down to look at 2 possible purchases. Only came home with 1. And what was odd was,
such a bummer,
the second one that didn't work out was somebody that I had already bought from. And when I bought from the first time, they got over 3 times what they were asking for.
Right.
I asked them, what are you wanting to get? And they told me a number, and I said, I'm going to do much better than that for you. And I mean, to be completely candid about it or transparent, they were hoping to get $1,500. I paid $5,000. So, I think I took care of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I went back this time, there was one item that I believe they felt, for whatever reason, was worth much more than it was. And whenever I threw the offer out, the response was essentially, well, without this. And I said, well, this is all I think that item is worth. And I got no response. I got no rebuttal. I really kind of got shut down, and it was a little off-putting. And I just left. I left.
Well, there's probably a little more to it, because when you were there the first time, the whole reason we weren't able to buy all the rest of the stuff that was still there is they weren't ready to part with it. And this is a case of where someone has passed away, and there's sentimental reasons, and it's hard to judge.
Yeah, sure. Well, and I mean, that was the response. I did text, because it got very uncomfortable in the home. So I got in the rental van and I started to drive down the road, and then I pulled over and I said, before I leave town, I don't want to leave it like this. So I said, hey, I felt like we got in a very awkward spot, and I normally would ask this. Instead, I just took myself out of the equation. But how far apart were we? And the answer I got was, I really don't know. Before I needed the space, I don't need the space for this stuff, so I'm in no hurry. Hey, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable or completely know what you want to get out of it, that's fine. I'm not going to push the envelope and create a problem and turn what was a very good experience the last time, and left us both feeling good. I don't want to turn that negative, so I just let it be. The other collection that I did look at, somebody was relocating, and I brought home about 17 long boxes of comics. And the unfortunate part that I wasn't aware of before I went down, and this is fine too, the seller had essentially sold every real key in the collection. So I came home with 17 long boxes of really a lot of 50-cent and dollar books. And, I mean, there's 5, 10, there's some $20 books in there, but there's no bangers. There's no big hitters in there. Toys, we got some good stuff, and we'll get to some of that.
But it's not all that uncommon. No. By the time stuff makes it to us, it's been cherry picked, whether it was by the original owner or someone they've already dealt with that came
Sure.
in and said, I'll take this and this and this. I don't want the rest of this
This
stuff.
was obviously eBay. I was offered some shipping supplies, like that I could have took with the collection, and I said no. And yes, that's in our day and age, everybody now is, for the most part, like willing or able to maximize their profit and sell. So yes,
if they're willing to put the work
yes.
in, and they are also able to do some research, whether or not they're doing it correctly may be in question.
Sure.
And there's a lot of misinformation out there that is easily achieved, but everybody can look their stuff up.
Yeah. It's just whether or not you're looking at the right thing, the right amount. I mean, there's how many times have you heard this where somebody comes in and they have an item and 13 of them sold for $40, but one sold for $250. Sold for $250. So they're like, well, I think I should be able to get $200 out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, that's not happening. But then, it's very easy if you just put a little work in to figuring out what that item's really worth and what you can sell it for directly. Sure. But always when you're selling to a reseller, that that price changes.
Well, we had a guy call the shop one time and he said, hey, I've got this comic. I looked it up. It's either worth $400 or $200,000. Are you guys able to buy this? And I had to ask some very important questions.
This. Yeah.
And what it turned out he had was
it Death of Superman?
Well, what came right after. It was like Rebirth.
The Reign of Superman.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he had maybe one of the bagged issues, and at the time it was something we might have even put out for $2
back then.
Now
yeah,
it's a 50-cent book.
Yeah, we just see too many.
But and the funny part is once I figured out exactly what he had, I Googled it, and right at the top, the first two images literally said $400, $200,000. And at the very top, he never got beyond that. He saw those two numbers.
I'm good. Yeah. I got money.
No, 200,000 is.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll take $400.
Right. It didn't cost me nothing.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, that's. Ooh, that is that whole era of books too. I still to this day, I think we should start collecting like Death of Superman and the Reign of Superman and gather long boxes together and then hold a bonfire where we burn them all so that maybe we increase the profitability on them just a little bit down the road for everybody else out there.
I've said that many times too, but unless we can collect somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 million of them,
500,000.
Well,
it's crazy.
I don't think we're gonna make enough of a wave.
Yeah, it'd be a small, insignificant impact. So yep, we've been buying a lot, and with the changes. So back to that. Oh my goodness, we are pumping out so many toys to fill this void in this room, and I think we're kind of at one of those points again. It happened once, maybe a year or two ago. It's probably happened a few times where it's just like, woo, there are so many toys in here. Like we have it just keeps coming. We're pulling stuff out of storage finally. Some stuff that's been sitting for a year. A collection I bought in January, stuff I bought last year, new stuff. We're just pulling out all this stuff, and then new stuff is walking in. And if it's not something we have out on the shelves or on the hook somewhere, we want to get it out. So it's coming out. We're really pumping the store full. So then we kept talking about, Columbia collection. So I guess that's a good segue into a couple of interesting items that came into the shop. So this was one item from Columbia. It is a Transformers Generation 2 Golden Bumblebee, still on card. I have probably had this exact toy come through the shop, through my hands as a dealer over the years, even 6 times.
On card?
No,
Raw.
never on card.
Loose.
Never on card. Unfortunately, it's a curvy card, and this is something I think we're going to talk about next, is just care that certain collectors take care of their stuff. And that's kind of a theme that will lead into this next little piece. But I just thought this was pretty cool, just to see this little bumblebee had survived on card.
Humidity or lack thereof. And as the climate changes throughout the year, some of these things can flex a little.
All of the carded figures were just kind of thrown into a tub.
Well, for that collection, sure.
That's what I was getting at. There was no neat stacking. It looked like an attempt was made in the beginning and then abandoned very quickly, and stuff just got thrown in there. And then,
well, yeah. That being said, stuff all thrown together. This one's
a little interesting right here. So we got an Undertaker. It's an old Hasbro figure.
Old Hasbro, yeah.
From what's the year on that? 92.
Yeah.
Official WWF Undertaker figure. A small dog toy. What's interesting about this one is it's French. It's all French language on the card. Now, what we will generally see, we've gotten some Japanese cards, but they're rare. Mm-hmm. We've never had a French, I don't think. Mm-hmm. Usually, when you get French, it's Canadian French. It's American and French together. It's dual.
Right.
This was all French, and it's just very uncommon
for us,
especially here in the Midwest. To see something like that.
Well, and the way this particular figure came to us with a much larger batch of carded and tons and tons and tons of loose figures, and the story behind it, and the two gentlemen that delivered it to us is comical in and of itself.
Yeah, essentially, I think a house got some storm damage. They have an actively leaking roof. The person that collected this doesn't live in the house, was a family member. Some of it was in a dumpster outside. They were just throwing this stuff away. So these two laborers, I think, is kind of what I've put together.
Working on the roof.
Yeah. Asked, can we take this stuff? And they said, yeah. And then they said, we got more inside. And the stuff inside, some of it was wet. So we're taking the good with the bad. We're taking the full lots. But just to find something, there was some great loose figures and unique pieces in there. But to find something this unique in that lot.
Oh, it's absolutely the standout piece for me. But at the same time, there's one loose figure from that same exact brand that we've already sold very quickly for the same exact price we have on this carded one.
Right.
Yeah. And the gentleman that purchased it didn't hesitate a little bit, because I know I priced it fairly. It probably could have had a
little bit higher,
a little higher, and that's why less than 24 hours it was gone.
Are you trying to get me to start talking about people who haggle over pricing because they watch too much YouTube videos?
Maybe.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then we got one comic. It is an Ultimate Fallout 4.
Oh boy.
Dredjovic variant. Again, I've talked about this book in other videos at different times, different books.
Well, it's
not this exact one.
Well, another copy of that is one of 2 books that have been submitted to CGC from this shop.
Was submitted a little more than that, but not much.
Not much.
Yeah. There was a BA-12.
That's the other one I'm thinking out of the 2.
It might only be 2, yeah. Because then we did some VHSs at one point and stuff, so we don't use our CGC membership to the fullest effect. That's for sure. We don't grade a lot. But the last one we had of these was
came back
2 years ago.
Yeah, and it was an 8.5.
7.5.
7.5.
Came back at 7.5. That was a book I bought, and I had a lengthy discussion with the seller about. We both agreed it was about a 4 or 5 when I got it. I spent 2 months now. When I say that,
slowly over time,
I spent 2 months pressing this book and working on it, and sent it in. And to be honest, I kind of expected lower than what we got. I did. And it came back 7.5, and it was huge. And we got good money for that book. So this book, a couple months ago, I bought a partial collection from a gentleman that shops with us, a nice guy, and his wife. They both collect together. And I went to their house, and they had sorted out, I don't know, 15, 20 long boxes that they were willing to part with, and mentioned that, there could be more as we thin down. I think they were gearing more towards going to graphic novels. They still wanted to have the material to read, but I think it was coming down to space was the big thing. And when I bought the collection, I even asked him at the home. I said, I noticed you had all the variants. You had 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Where's 4? He goes, I still have that. And I was like, well, if you ever want to sell it, kind of left it at that. And then a couple of weeks ago, he came into the shop and he said, I came across that book. Are you still interested? And I said, yes, I am.
Yep.
And he said, well, what do you think you'll give on it? And I said, I don't know, but it could be close to what I paid you for the bulk that I took from you, essentially. And he was like, all right. So this Saturday, he and his wife took a drive out here, maybe 25, 30-minute drive, came out to the shop, and he brought the book, and we made a deal on it. I paid up for it, seriously. What I was surprised, which we've seen a lot, but I guess I just didn't expect it to be as strong with this book. This book has calmed down just like everything else has in the market, unless It's a real blue chip key at this point. A lot of it has softened up.
Even some of the blue chips are a little soft
taking a little hit.
Now. Yeah.
Sure. And, but we did come to an agreement. I made an offer. We were $200 apart, so we agreed to split the difference at the $100 mark, and we have the book. So now, of course, this one is much nicer than that last one, but it still needs a press. It's got a couple of ticks. Once that's done, I'm going to determine whether or not I want to submit it or just say, I don't want to wait. Let me make what I can off of it. This is not going to be, this is a key book. This was a big, not big purchase, but, a significant amount of money that I paid for it. So, it's not going to be I'm double, tripling my money type of win type of thing like that.
Well, and there's other concerns also that slabs in general are soft right now, and in a lot of cases a tougher sell because there's so many people that would rather have a raw book, and there's multiple reasons for that. Some of them just don't want a slab. Some of them want to send it in themselves to try and make that extra bit.
Or to flip it. Either to get that grade or to flip it. We have a lot of guys like that, and I get it. That's fine. We don't grade, so if you want to put the time and investment into it, have at it, man.
Well, and some of them may be thinking that they could also put some work into the book, even though they don't know what we've already done to it.
Sure, but it is a process, and there are certain books that I just get to a certain point, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. I mean, I'm done. I've spent 5 rounds on this book. It's time to just get it out of here. Not that is a huge undertaking or time consumer or anything, but at a certain point, you want to move on. You want to move past it. You want to get your money back and get out of it.
Because how many books are sitting in stacks behind it waiting to get their turn?
Short boxes worth of books waiting to get pressed and cleaned and get out here. So, for anybody that didn't know that, I press and clean our own books. Like, we don't do it for the public. We did for a short time, a couple of times, and I pulled away from that.
But it's not a secret.
No, by anybody. If anybody asks, I tell them, we have guys. Did you press this? Yes.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you for sure. There's no qualms about it, or secret.
Well, it's not the same shame that it was in CGC's infancy.
Oh, yeah.
Pressing was
that was considered
taboo.
Restoration by a lot of guys. And it was like, as long as you're not altering the book, there's no reason for it. And I feel the same way now. I've heard different things that, peroxide baths are coming back getting flagged on some books. I don't know if that's still the case, but I mean, if you're not adding or detracting anything from the physical book itself, and it's clean and visibly,
Well, especially
presents well.
with something that's 50, 60, 70,
Yeah.
80 years old, at some point, preservation is a concern.
Yes. Yeah. Geez, between us kicking the mic stands and the HVAC turning off, and I feel like our sound is going to be a little different on this episode. So we'll see what we can do with that in the finished product. So those are some cool items that came in. There was a bunch more. I mean, if you guys aren't already following our Facebook and Instagram, see all the crap that we dump into the store, on a weekly, semi-weekly, multi-day postings.
Well,
go do it.
We made 7 different posts
yesterday. How many did you make today?
2, and I think I still have more pictures that I'll probably drop in the morning.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're constantly putting stuff out.
We're back.
And here we are. So, next up, let's talk about certain types of collectors. This is, I think we're kind of cleaning up our segments that we want to talk about every week.
We're trying.
We're figuring it out as we go. As everybody knows, this is just our little experiment. So let's talk about collectors. A certain type of collector that wants to sell their stuff. Well, I guess I forgot. If people don't know, this segment we're ready for all the smoke. You can come at us all you want.
Yep. Well, let's just say this before we dive right in. There's a lot of people that say that collecting is the same thing as hoarding.
Yes.
And I say there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Collectors
care.
Yeah. They are, everything's well put away. It's organized.
Maybe not even organized, but at least cared for.
It's cared for.
It's storage.
Yes. Hoarding. After all those TV shows I've watched that's called Hoarders.
You don't care about that crap.
Oh, my goodness.
You don't care about that crap at all. And that's exactly it. Now I'm going to go back to a particular seller last year that brought in several tubs of stuff. Now, there were good items in this collection.
There almost always is.
But none of it was cared for. It seemed like it was stored in a crawl space or a shed that did not, wasn't weather tight.
No climate control.
There were, egg nests from spiders in some of this stuff. There was mold. We had to throw away some packaging because it was mold. We had to do deep cleaning. And after we started posting the toys for sale, the seller messaged and was like, "Oh, you screwed me over on price, so you guys are only paying 25%, which his math was off. I went back and verified he was lower than what we paid him, is what he was saying. But I responded. I said, we bought the collection in the condition that you brought it in. Mm-hmm. Essentially, here, ready for all the smoke. Here we go. You're lucky I didn't pay you yard sale prices for what you brought in here. After we spent, you and I both, 2 days each, so 4 days of man hours spent cleaning this collection just to get it out. Our time is worth something.
Yes, and it's worth quite a bit.
And this goes back to, if you want to be an educated seller, do a little research. Condition means something. We can't pay you top dollar for something that looks like it was dug out of our dumpster out back.
Well, and what this brings to my mind is the one that we ended up calling the Smoker Collection.
That's another one.
Oh, yes. My goodness. And I mean, that's when we had to purchase the ozone tent and all of that stuff piece by piece. We could only fit so many pieces in the tent at a time, and there was stuff we actually put out on the floor and then
pulled it back
because we
cleaned it again, ran it through the ozone tent again.
Right.
And did all that stuff to try to get that odor out. You'll never get rid of the yellowing that comes from smokers.
Nope. It ruins collectibles.
It does. And that collection, when you walked in the house, it kicked you in the ding ding, the smell.
Wow.
It was hard. But then after I was in there for an hour looking at the collection, you start to acclimate to it,
right?
And it starts to go away. That generally takes about 7 to 11 minutes for that odor to subside to your senses, if that's the right way to put it. I might have butchered the English language there, but really it goes away a little bit.
Mm.
And, the seller even said, I had a couple of guys, I sold some pieces on eBay, and they complained when they got it, but I don't know what they were complaining about. So
because it was stank,
it
son.
It was so stank. In the end,
and almost greasy. Sticky. It's there's so much that has been attracted to that cardboard and the blister and the figure itself. Themselves. I mean, how much isopropyl alcohol did we go through with that one collection?
Yeah.
Just wiping and wiping and wiping,
soaking and plunging, and then UV, ultra brighting stuff to try to get it back to normal. We also ultra bright stuff, so we do that when we need to. But it was, it was disgusting, and we got it back here, and we loaded it into the shop. This collection did not go to the storage unit. It came to our back room. And holy crap, did that back room stink like a bar that smokers are in all day. It was awful. We ended up putting weeks into that collection to process that and get it out for sale to an acceptable point.
Well, the real shame is how many extremely high quality pieces there were in that. I think there's still a couple of them.
Most of them are gone, but there's a few.
Just moved them over into this case right here the other day because they're such expensive pieces. They're not quick movers, but I know they came out of that collection, and I guarantee we've got a copious amount of time in those two pieces that are sitting right there.
I mean, toothbrushes, isopropyl alcohol. I can never say that right.
Isopropyl. IPA.
I mean, just so much elbow grease alone went into that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, we have, so if you're not familiar with what we mentioned earlier, an ozone tent, there is a machine that essentially, I don't even know what it does. I learned this. The only reason I knew
decontaminates.
Exactly. It will pull the odor out. It's a fan-based machine that will blow air to deodorize items. I learned about this in my previous life as a contractor because I did fire and water restoration. So that's what we did to restore personal belongings of homeowners so that they could keep them and not have to throw them away.
It's not as simple as put it in the tent and it's done.
Some cases, of the stuff, it's 3 cycles.
Well, and what people may not understand about a cycle is we can't run that thing while the shop is open because the ozone itself has an odor that is, in some cases, overwhelming. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so we only run it at night when we're gone. Yep. So a cycle, even though the timer on the ozone machine is, is it?
2 or 3
4 hours.
Yeah, something like that.
We have to run it overnight, and when we come back in the morning, around the tent on the other side, our back room, it's still at that point.
You're gonna pop the door open. Yeah, sometimes
it overtakes it. So
especially once you unzip the tent,
and then one batch of toys may take 3 cycles. I mean, it's a half a week.
Now it's a decent size. So what?
We can fit a lot of toys in there, but
Yeah, and let's just tell the people what we did, like what I built back there. So we took the ozone machine.
Mhm.
I looked for some sort of thing because when I did this for a business, we actually had rooms in a warehouse that we built, and you sealed them airtight. There were, exterior doors, like the door that you would walk in from your garage to your house, to seal things off, and more so beyond that. And now I know why we seal them up so tight, because it's all in that back room.
Right.
But so what I did was I bought a 2-person sauna tent. So this is a quilted nylon tent that is designed to keep moisture in.
Yeah.
And we ran it a couple of times, and boy, was coming in the next morning like awful. You could not walk in that back room.
Well, 2-person also is a little bit of a stretch there. I think if you and I got in there and had to share that space for any amount of time,
we'd be knee to knee for sure. But you can get 2 folding chairs and sit knee to knee in this thing.
You can.
It's what, 4 or 5 foot wide, 3-4 foot deep.
Oh, I don't.
5 foot tall.
I don't know. It's not that deep.
Maybe 2.5. I mean, you could sit there comfortably.
Well, the
this
small
way.
shelving unit we've got to put the toys on inside there. It's not that deep.
No, it's 16 inches, so it's probably about 24 to 28 inches deep,
give or take.
So, so when this odor would just smack you in the face when you walk in, and I mean, it was so bad it was filling the main part of the store. We were opening doors before opening just to try to air it out. And I was like, okay, we can't do this. This is not good. So then I had to figure out ways to line the interior walls with,
thick plastic,
thick 4mm plastic.
Yeah, something
real heavy,
something heavier than a comic bag.
Yeah, real thick and heavy, and it's like multiple layers in some points, and there's curtains that hang down over the doorway to try to trap it, and it still doesn't stay in there.
It's better though.
It is better. And I mean, that also works for anybody that's not familiar with that. There's another way that you can do that. If you're looking at smaller items or smaller amounts,
right,
or comic books, you can take a nice industrial Rubbermaid tub,
sure,
cut a hole on the side of it, put some piping in, and set this up, and really run it and make it more contained in the smaller unit.
Yeah.
But that's another thing that we've been able to use it for.
Is comics.
Those musty, mildewy, under the basement stair comics that come
in. The 50s and 60s stuff, and in a lot of cases, it's not the good Silver Age. It's the funny animals.
It's the funny animals, or it's the Dell movie classics.
The gold keys.
Yeah,
They're notoriously stank.
Yeah. And it does wonders. It's fantastic.
It really does help.
Yeah.
But we can't do it on every book. It's got to be books that matter. And the ones that go out for 50 cents. So
we do a lot of books that matter, but we will also, if we buy a couple of boxes, we'll stack them up on the shelves in there. And even though they're 50 centers, I don't want this 50-cent section permeating out into the whole store to where people start going, oh, I don't know, what's that odor?
Right.
Like we got rid of it. It's fine. So back to the more care and this is a double-edged sword too, because I'm not sure. There goes the HVAC again, guys. We're again learning process. When you bring in a dirty collection, obviously, like I said, you can't expect top dollar or damaged or smoke damaged or yellowed bubbles or water damage, whatever.
But stuff that's had a soda poured on it.
Oh yeah,
video games, especially.
Video games.
I don't know why everybody drinks soda right next to their Nintendo, but
are they doing it while they drive? And I don't understand that either. Consoles, like just soda poured into it, and people will bring it in and be like, "It worked last time I played it."
What?
It don't work now, and I bet it didn't then either. It probably broke on you.
Well, we cannot pay for dust. We cannot pay for pet hair. We can't
Mold,
pay. We can't pay for mold. We can't pay for pet dander,
spider eggs.
and in fact, we pay less.
Yeah,
With,
because
for,
we have to put more work into it.
we have to clean it, and we've spent so much time in the last few years just cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning.
Yeah, and I mean that has even led to us over the years being more particular and picky.
Yeah.
There was a time, and I still stand behind this for the most part, that I'm not going to cherry pick your collection. I'm not going to leave you with
We try not to.
But we are finally at the point that we're even telling some people, I'm going to buy this, and then I'll take on the hassle of donating the rest of this for you, because we're not even going to take it and put it out for sale. We're going to throw it in our tubs, and then we're going to drive it down to one of the donation centers a few blocks away, and we're going to get rid of it. We don't want it. We're not. It's just not worth it, and
it costs us too much in labor.
Yeah, for sure. And then other things, if you're a collector and if you put things on display and then repackage them, especially statues, anything that goes in styrofoam or a tight inner clamshell that goes together, please dust that. Dust is a granular, and when it's stuck in there, as it shifts, it will scratch your items, and
it's
devalues
damaging it.
Yeah.
It's literally making it worth less money. So it's not just about us saying we don't want to have to clean it off of there. When we clean it off of there, we're finding that surface damage,
especially anything with like
a gloss,
chrome finish,
or
a
chrome,
gloss.
Chrome. Oh my goodness, yeah.
It's so bad. Like, just do yourself a favor. Like, do the next collector a favor, and just dust it off. It'll help everybody involved.
Well, I mean, it comes really down to we pay more for clean items.
Yeah, so that's where I was going. I started this with a double-edged sword.
I mean,
so when we say we pay more for clean items, if they're cleaned properly.
Sure.
Because somebody can be like, I can grab a wet washcloth and wipe this down.
Right.
And then you get that cardboard, blisters up like it's got the chicken pox. And it's ridiculous, and we can't do anything with it. You actually ruined it instead of restoring it or bringing it back. You hurt it more. All that goes into consideration.
Well, and if somebody called here and said, I have a collection, I want to bring it to you guys to sell or trade to you, it's a little dirty, here's what it is, how can I clean it best without damaging it, we'd probably offer up at least a quick answer.
Yeah, but that's a double-edged sword. I mean, even today, we were cleaning toys today.
All day today.
And
all day
2 days
today.
in a row, both of us,
Yes.
just going to town, cleaning toys, pricing them, getting them out. I was a little surprised by a couple of carded figures that, we talked about alcohol. And there is a lot of cases with cardboard. If you're real quick and it's not overly saturated, you can get that mung off, that stickiness.
Well, and a true 90% isopropyl alcohol, as opposed to the 70%, which has more water in it,
Yep.
It will evaporate very quickly. So it's not soaking in.
But luckily, they were not expensive figures. The cards, well, one, sometimes you'll get a card that will bleed. It will pull color off on. And then other ones, it literally, everywhere you wiped, you just get those streak marks.
Yeah.
And there's nothing there's no going back at that point. You can't get that out of there.
If it's affecting the inks on the cardboard, you're screwed.
Or if there's a weird gloss to it, in some cases, it could damage that as well.
Well, in my experience, never, ever, ever, ever put IPA on a G.I. Joe vehicle where there's a sticker.
Oh, because any sticker.
Not any sticker, but I'm telling you, those old Joe vehicles, every sticker, it'll wipe the paint / ink right off that
coming
sticker.
right off.
It's
gone.
You can clean that Joe vehicle with the IPA very carefully. Never ever touch a sticker.
But I mean, that's even with some carded figures. If there's an exterior sticker on the blister, I mean, you're taking 2 risks right there.
Mm-hmm.
1, you're wiping all the color or ink off,
Mm-hmm.
or 2, the adhesive is weak and starts to peel on you, and all of a sudden that sticker just starts to curl right up.
Well, the true old school rule here is test a small area first. If you're not sure, pick a very, very small area, give it a little test, and if you see an adverse effect, back off.
Yep. Stop whatever you're doing.
Go ahead, bring it here, dirty. We'll take care of it. We'll just pay you a little less.
We're still taking your dirty crap. It's fine.
But I mean, the easy answer here is if you have a way to just blow something off, a little air on top, get that surface dust off of the statues. If you've been displaying figures and you still have packaging you're going to put them back into, a little less dust goes a long way.
It does. And I mean, just a nice little dry Swiffer duster in a lot of cases.
Absolutely. That right there, that I mean, it looks like an old feather duster, but way better and attracts that stuff,
grabs it
so much more.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's all I got to say about dirty crap at the moment.
Well, I mean, and that pretty much brings us to the end of our time for this here evening. So if you have anything else,
we'll give them a couple more minutes here.
Yeah, you got something else to chase. A couple
things to chop out, but that will allow for this to happen this evening. So just real quick, one thing: trends. We have not talked about it. I said when we did this, we were going to start trying to talk about trends.
Oh, Lord.
So it's hard for us because we don't sell anything new. So our trends are a little different than what other shops might see. But what does happen is that people sell us their recent acquisitions.
Oh, boy.
And one trend I am definitely seeing, which I'm a little excited about, to be honest with you, is kind of like a revitalization, it seems like, with Marvel and DC right now, between the Absolute.
Mm-hmm.
I think the lead into that, if I'm not mistaken, was Absolute Power, and then Absolute came. I don't know. I don't read current stuff, so I'm really disconnected from it. But we've heard some really good things, and then you got Marvel Rivals, and I think they just did a volume 2 on that, and we're starting to get calls on that. We have yet to see any back issues come in. But I'm pretty certain I've had 80 to 85% of all of the Absolute from DC stuff has come in through our hands, and variants and
Superman,
we
Wonder
even
Woman.
I had Martian Manhunter issue 2 the week after it came, and it came with 1 and 2 and a bunch of variants. Which
boggles my mind how somebody can go to another shop, purchase something for full price, maybe at a little bit of a discount if they've got a pull and hold, but then it's here that fast getting traded or sold.
Yeah. And then even with that, many shops aren't selling variants at cover price. I mean, I did recently see one of our local neighbors here had announced that they're no longer marking them up. If you want to order it, you request it, you get it at cover price, honestly, if you're ordering it, that's how it should be.
It's how it should be, but you've also got to be ahead of the game. You can't show up on the day of release
and be like, "Where's my variants?"
No,
and that's they're asking for deadline. You have to order it by the deadline.
And I've also heard of some shops saying if you want this 1 in 50 or this 1 in 100 or this 1 in whatever,
you got to order us the issues that get us to that point.
Well, you got to pay for all that stuff we can't sell.
Don't we know somebody that got like a 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 1,500?
It was something ridiculous. And he did it one time that I know about.
I think they were ordering, I think the story goes, it was something like, well, we're going to order 40 or 45 issues of this. You want that variant, you order all the rest, and you get everything that goes with it. And he did it. And then over the course of a year brought us all of that, in
But
small batches.
I don't think we got all of it. We
I
got a
still
lot of
don't.
it.
There's no way we did.
I think he spread the wealth,
Yeah.
peppered it around town a little bit,
Sure.
because there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
And to his credit, I guess they were not all exactly the same cover.
No, he got all the variants and the ratios that went up, and he got the quantity that related to the amount he was ordering for those variants. And that, for us, it worked out well. And
sure,
I don't think he was super happy in the end, but he got rid of the crap, and we ended up with it.
Well, I think that ultimately made him decide that was no longer a good idea to.
I think he changed his buying habits after
that. Not going to chase that anymore.
For sure. So my point was, it is good to see a little excitement every time a new book comes out, that actually you start to see or hear multiple people reacting to. It just shows that it just adds to a little longevity of the collecting world for that.
Well, the comics industry.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like we're pumping a little lifeblood into it, a little energy into it. And I like seeing that, even though we don't deal with anything new. So on that note, I think next week we're going to talk about why we still don't do anything new. I mean,
we have comic supplies.
Comic supplies are the only thing new we sell. Not to mean that we don't have new product in here, like new sealed packaged product.
Right.
But we didn't buy it new. It didn't come from a distributor. We're a resell only shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing that we'll talk on next week when we come back.
Well, and it's might be one of the biggest things that sets us apart from almost everybody else.
Yeah, I think so. And, good, bad, and the ugly that comes with that.
Sure.
And next week, if we're bringing that topic up, it very possibly could end up that we are right back to where we were with, episode 1 and 2, where we got to split it up, because that might get long-winded.
Throwing the shade.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Well, I mean, there's so many directions to throw shade there, but hey, let's not worry about that now. It's
not even throwing shade. It's just what worked for, at the time, me. It was only me for a long time. Mm-hmm. And now it's us and this team, we have a smaller team than we had, but anyway, it's the shop as a whole. Yeah. We'll maybe talk about that at some point too. But it's just the shop as a whole, why it works for us, why we do that and decide to just totally stay away from it. And that could possibly lead into just what we were talking about with, us getting all this new stuff that just hit the shelves weeks ago sometimes, and so many other things. But for now, we're going to sign off and say goodbye, guys, and thank you for coming and spending your time with us again. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time for the obligatory ask that you go like, subscribe, and share so that we can keep doing this.